4 races into Season 6 of the JBL Cup Series, and all the parity, 4 different winners from 4 different teams, and all 3 manufacturers have a win. Here today is race number 5 of the season, and the 3rd race of the West Coast Swing, and these 36 drivers are ready to gamble in Las Vegas for 67 laps for the Bet MGM 400. Who will win? Let's find out for Season 6 of the JBL Cup Series and race number 5 of the season. Hello everyone, it's the boy Race 97 aka Nathan Stapleton here, and welcome back to Las Vegas Motor Speedway for Season 6 of the Cup Series. We were recently here for race 21 last year for Season 5, and oh boy, was that possibly one of the races of all time for all the wrong reasons. Hopefully we don't see that here today, but it's going to be a fun one. It's been a very fun season so far, and like I said, very competitive. If you count the clash, there's been 5 different winners and 5 different teams that have won already this season, and it's been a very interesting West Coast swing so far. Had little swings a couple of weeks ago. Last week we had Phoenix, and now we are here at Las Vegas for West Coast race number 3. And we got Alex back up here in the booth for this one, and we are in for most likely a show here today at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
This is a fun racetrack, no doubt about it, and I love these intermediate racetracks. And this is traditionally, of course, we've been to Atlanta already, but this has always kind of been like one of the first mile-and-a-half racetracks we go to each season in all these seasons. And this is a racetrack where we'll see who's good and who's not throughout the rest of the year, and that was obviously the case in the Wassup Cup Series last year when we came here. And I think that's going to be the case here today as well. Here in the JBL Cup Series, you got Trey Bartow starting on the pole and John Andrews. A lot of experience on this front row. This is a very fun race, and it's going to be fun to see who ends up coming out on top here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Oh yeah, it is a very fun race, but 2 and 3 multi-group racing, and strategy is going to be interesting here today. It's about 20 to 30 laps on fuel, but there's been some test races where some guys maybe pit 1 lap early on lap 27, and if this goes green, it should be like around lap 27, and then lap 56 for pit stops. But we'll see what ends up happening. Last year we had 2 mechanical issues, a tire issue, and then 1 actual crash. With this race being much earlier on in the season, from race 21 to race 5, do you think we will see that here once again either today, or do you think it might be a little bit more tamer for these guys?
Well, I think that the fact that these guys are going to be a little bit closer to each other is actually going to help out a little bit, ironically. You get that difference in speed with certain guys and their experience, and you tend to see the guys who do not have the good experience compared to the guys who do have good experience, and there's usually a bit of a disagreement once you get to that point, but you never know. This is one of those racetracks where you can get a caution-free race, and then you can get, like you said last year, a 4-caution, 5-caution race, so we'll have to see how it ends up shaking out. The good place to be, of course, is up front, and that is where Trey Bartow is, but you know what? Anything can happen from anywhere, including mechanical issues, and this is actually, ironically, a racetrack where mechanical issues tend to be rather frequent, so we'll have to see how that ends up coming into play, and that's the reason for a lot of the cautions we had last year, and I think we might see a bit more of that here today as well.
Yeah, that was the #1 reason last year, and fortunately, I don't think we've seen too many mechanical issues so far this season. Hopefully, that can continue here today. But leading the points so far in a ultra-competitive season is Jordan Edwards in the number 9 machine, and he has a 11-point lead over Juan Connington in 2nd in the point standings. And 3rd is the highest rookie in points as of now, and that is Will Dorn, -17. Aaron Abel is in 4th, -22. In the middle of last week's winner is also -22, and then Juan Garcia, 2 weeks ago winner at Riddle Springs, is also -22. Travis Crampton is in 7th, -24. Nicholas St. Rodeo is quietly moving his way up in the point standings. Actually lost a couple of positions in points last week, but he is in 8th, -26. Logan Williams is in 9th, -34. And then the Daytona 500 winner of Jordan Sal is still inside the top 10, -36. And we'd like to point out, Logan Williams, he's trying to do the weekend sweep here today, as he dominated yesterday, had a 5+ second lead in the National Series race, and won his 10th win on the channel. If he wants to get win number 11 here today and do a weekend sweep, he has to start from about 17th position here. And here is the top 10 for the Bet MGM 400. Is Trey Ball on the pole and John Anders alongside him. The point leader of Jordan Edwards and Kenneth Miller in row number 2. Duncan Wood in the number 8 machine and Nick Lopez in the 54. Last time we were on a mile and a half, Stuart Graham won, and he starts in 7th. Owen Moss with a great qualifying effort in 8th. And then Aaron Abel 4th in the point standings. And alongside him is Justin Zeidel in the number 2 machine. And we'll go ahead and get these drivers rolling off here at Las Vegas for 67 laps on tap in this one. And I'm going to put you on the spot, Alex. Who do you think will gamble and win in Viva Las Vegas?
Well, you know, I want to go with Bartow because he's starting on the pole. I think he's got a really good shot at winning, but I'm going to go with kind of the magic spot for these races. I'm going to go with the driver starting 3rd, that number 9 machine of Jordan Edwards. And he's the points leader as well, looking for his first win of the season. I think he's got a very good shot at extending that here today in this Bet MGM 400 at Las Vegas.
We'll see what he can do. He's been fairly quiet. He has the most... Well, he is one of the drivers that has 3 top 10s this season. But he's gotten them fairly quietly. Just stole a 3rd place one at Willow Springs and just been fairly quiet. But that's what you need to do early on. It's a little bit of a longer regular season, 18 races instead of 16. And those Tinder cars have been fast, and we got 2 of them inside the top 5. But this race is always wild, and we'll see of what it produces here today. Trey Bottle and John Andrews, some experience on the front row, is about to lead us to the green for race 5 already for season 6 of the JBL Cup Series. 67 laps on tap, and we are green flag racing and Viva Las Vegas for the Bet MGM 400. A great start from 3rd place starter and a point leader of Tornadoes. He will lead lap number 1, getting a bonus point towards the championship. And Trey Ball is already dropping back a little bit, but what we just will see all day is that it's not bad to be on the outside lane. There's 2, sometimes 3 lanes that work here at Las Vegas, and Stuart Grant all the way from 7th to 3rd on lap number 2.
And this racetrack doesn't have the best grip. They actually slow down quite a bit, I should say, through the corner here at Las Vegas, and definitely creates for some interesting racing, and these guys tend to spread out regardless, but Bartow and Andrews kind of getting stuck in that outside lane, not really holding the grip, but they just might not be as fast as these drivers around them there. Of course, Jordan Edwards pulling out to a pretty significant lead right there. 8 machine. Duncan Ward looking really strong in that ride, and you got the 47 machine as well, Stuart Grabban. Not a surprise to see Stuart have a good run, and this is a guy to watch out for as the season rolls along. Stuart knows what he is doing, and his team owner knows what he's doing. He's my team owner over in the Krispy Kreme National Series at Chase Harris, so this could definitely be a race Stuart could win, and he's got a good run there to the inside of Duncan Ward for the 2nd position. They're 3 wide right there. How about that move out of the 20 machine?
Matthew Hubert took advantage of his teammate Aaron Abel washing up the racetrack, battling for his old wide, and look at Hubert, well, here comes Hubert in the 5, but look at the other Matthew of Burnett. He's going to go from, 5th to maybe 2nd, not quite, but a strong lap from this 20 machine of Burnett, and he might take 2nd away from Stuart Grant. He goes way wide, Burnett all the way on the bottom. Fantastic stuff already, but look at that number 9 machine. Loves what he sees, and he is pulling away to massively now, battling for 2nd on back, and that's what we will see all day long. Burnett will get past Stewart, and now look at the 8, gonna chop down to the inside, and he might take that 3rd spot away. Great stuff already, but someone needs to catch up to that number 9 machine.
Yeah, and they're letting Jordan Edwards get away with this one right now. These guys keep on battling for the 2nd position, but that's something that happens here now. Burnett's got an opportunity of closing in that 20 machine, and if he's got a fast enough car, he'll find his way up there. Good battle here between Grattan and Duncan Ward. Got the 11 machine up there as well. That is Aaron Abel in that ride, and he had a good run. He had a good run in the Light Series race. That's all I'll say. The other day, a week ago at Winchester. But you got the 5 machine there, Matthew Hubert, looking to the inside there. Hubert's a guy who I know is really fast, and he's going to have a good opportunity at this one too. A lot of strong drivers up front in this race, and it's anyone's guessing who's going to get this race victory as we go along, but Jordan Edwards is in a good position right now, almost a second lead right now on Matthew Burnett here. So we're on lap 7.
Almost a 1 second lead, but Burnett running about a lane higher, and that's the multi-groove racing we were talking about. Burnett trying to close into Edwards, and this time by he did about 1/10 of a second. Burnett has struggled a little bit to start off the season, running in 23rd in the point standings. And Matthew Hubert has also struggled in this number 5 machine in 20th in points, but got, I believe, his first top 10 last week and went plus 10 in the point standings. John Andrews 17th in the points, needs a good one, needs to get some momentum. And once again, another Wicklow car has a standout one. Duncan Halverston in the number 21, or not 21, he's 21st in points in the number 15. Running inside the top 10, Troy Barlow, the number 4. That is Kenneth Miller having a great one. Logan Williams all the way inside the top 11, trying to go for the weekend sweep, and there might be on him is Anna Miller, last week's Phoenix winner. And we're going to go back up to the front, because things are getting tight for multiple battles, possibly for the lead, possibly for 4th, and possibly for 6th. And maybe 8th. Great stuff all over the place here at Las Vegas.
And I like what I'm seeing out of John Andrews right there. But I like what I'm seeing out of Matthew Burnett as well. He's closing in here on Jordan Edwards, and you don't really want to get out to too much of a lead here, ironically enough. And wear those tires down. This is not a place where we have significant tire wear, but every little bit counts. And especially on a track like this where you do slow down in the corners a bit more than some of the other intermediate racetracks. The 11 machine to the inside. Good run there for Aaron Abel. Matthew Burnett is closing in here, and Stuart Gratton's right up there as well, all within a half second of our race leader, Jordan Edwards, and could have ourselves a 3-wide battle for the lead here in just a moment.
And like you said, there's some tire, but not significant like Atlanta to say. A great 1 through 3 and 4. I think Burnett might be faster than the 9, but Gratton might be faster than both of them. Top 3 are now separated by 2/10 of each other, and Abel in the 4th position and then Duncan Wood in the 5th position. And already on lap number 12, and some fantastic stuff here. Gonna stay up front for the time being, because I feel like Burnett might have a better car in 3 and 4, running a lane lower. And oh yeah, Edwards went up a little bit in 3 and 4, and I think the setup might be a little bit not that great on the long one for that number 9 machine. And I think Burnett might have a better long one car, but still Grattan running a lane lower. And that's the thing about Las Vegas, it is so multi-group racing. You see so many different lanes, and that's why we love this racetrack, and that's why we moved it up from race 21 to race 5. But look at Burnett, almost to the inside, but he's going to get blocked by Edwards. But he is there, and he can make a move at any given moment.
And it is somewhat difficult to make a pass here, but it's still quite easy to do so compared to some other racetracks. And you just have to have the right momentum and the right spot to do it in. As we get later in the run, these tires wear out, and that middle groove ends up becoming the dominant lane. Very unique part about this racetrack is that tire wear that affects the racing line, and you're going to see Jordan Edwards kind of utilize that there. A lot of speed there, a little bit, like 1.5 lanes up there on the 20 machine, and Burnett's going to lose some ground right there, and Grattan may actually get a position on the 20 machine here, but all these guys tend to run in that same line when the tires wear out. Grattan might have a shot to the inside of Burnett, though, and here we go for second as Grattan has an opportunity at it. Of course, the cycle of pit stops. We're going to have 2 cycles of pit stops in this race if this thing stays green. That's going to be very, very interesting. A 2-stop race here at Las Vegas. And the pit crew is very, very important in this race. You don't have a good pit stop, you definitely take yourself out of contention, especially if the race stays green. And has a bit of a green flag feel to it here today.
Oh yeah, definitely. So far, luckily, knock on wood, we've not had any mechanical issues. I just jinxed it probably, but so far so good on lap 16. Stewart was in the booth yesterday in the National Series race, and I bet he probably learned some things about this racetrack, but that's one thing that is unique to the Cup Series, especially versus the Wawa Cup Series. We have more pit stops than the Wawa Cup Series. 2 pit stops here today, and the pit crew matters way more here in the JBL Cup Series versus the Wawa Cup Series, and we're going to see that all day long. And Stuart Grant closing in to John Andrews, and Jonathan Wood got past John Andrews for the 4th position. Actually, no, the 5th position, but Andrews might get that spot back. Logan Williams inside the top 10, runs a little bit high in 3 and 4. Trey Ball in the 4th position. I'm getting all tongue-tied in the 9th position, and we got a 4-way battle. Look at the speed that Local Dawn has to the inside of Duncan Alveston, and this is all outside the top 10. Great one for Kenneth Miller in the number 4 here today. Just inside the top 10. Great one from Eric Margo. Needs a good one here, and he is just outside the top 10 and might get inside the top 10 here. But speaking of 10, we're about 10 laps away from the first cycle of pit stops here in this one.
And Stuart Gratton is right there for the race lead on Jordan Edwards. He's actually got a nose to the inside going in the turn 1. Not enough momentum, and Edwards is going to get that middle lane to work to his advantage. I like what I'm seeing out of my guys, both top 10. And Logan Williams, who won yesterday, looking to sweep this weekend. He's a guy to watch out for as the season rolls along here in the in the JBL Cup Series. He's had a good season in the Wawa Cup Series as well up to this point. He's had a good season over here. He's top 10 in points, 9th to be exact. And he's a driver to watch out for in this race, because that 38 may just be one of the fastest cars on the racetrack right now.
Oh yeah, he is absolutely flying from 17th to 6th. And I was mentioning that maybe the 9 doesn't have as good of a long one color. I think Stuart Grant might have a long one color, and I think Logan Williams might have a long one color. Williams might have the best long one color. It's about maybe 3/4 to a second of fall off. It's not that bad, but it does matter. And Logan Williams, Stuart Grant is going to want a lane lower, but like you said, the outside lane tends to do better on the long one. And Jordan Lewis is using that to his advantage, holding off one of the strongest rookies on the grid of this season. And right now things are calming down. These guys know that we got about 7 laps until pit stops, and then things will get a little bit interesting. Here comes Juan Garcia, the 13-time race winner, just outside the top 10. Nick Lopez, and Amanda Miller, Eric Monaco, Alexander Lowe. There's still a ton of battles all over the place, but these guys are definitely settling in to a groove. Just before pit stops, Superline falling back a little bit, might be in the clutches of Matthew Burnett, but it's looking pretty good for that point leader here today. Mike get his 4th top 10 in 5 races, and Mike get his first win on the season.
Stuart Gratton's going to be hard to beat, though, I feel like, if he gets a good pit stop ahead of the 9 machine here. We'll see if that ends up being the case. But who knows? We got a lot of strong drivers up front in this race, and I haven't talked too much about Aaron Abel on this one, running in the 4th position right there, but I think he's got a very good opportunity at winning this as well. He's 4th in the championship standings. We're seeing a lot of these guys who are up there in the points run well here today. I mean, Stewart, he's 11th in the points, so he's had a pretty solid season so far. Matthew Burnett has actually not had the best of the season so far. He's in the second half of the page right there, but still, early on in the season, and as you said, there's a lot of parity early on, and we're seeing a lot more of that, but we're also seeing certain drivers, I think, have advantages. Our points leader is leading this race, and that's no surprise to get to a racetrack like this. The drivers who have had a good season up to this point tend to do well here in Las Vegas. We'll see how that ends up being the case as this race continues on, but closing in on the first cycle of pit stops, the big thing is you do not want to get caught on the pit lane when a caution comes out. That is going to ruin your race if that ends up happening. And what strategy do you go? Do you go on the long run and have the better tires later in the run and just avoid the caution coming out, or do you come in early, try to shortcut, and get an advantage on everybody, because both have their advantages, but if a caution comes out, one has a clear advantage, and which way do you go? That is the big question.
Oh yeah, that is going to be fairly interesting. Tyler is not that significant, but it's going to be about 28 to lap 30, but there is a oh well, speaking of a caution, we got one, so we're going to get a caution round of pit stops here. And unfortunately, we are wrecking down the front stretch. Same with deal, Travis Crampton, Ryan Wilkinson. Looks like it was a massive crash down the front stretch, and well, You spoke into existence that time in a tough way for. Oh my goodness. That 14 needs to get out of the way. I think that 14 might be.
Ooh boy.
The 14 is up to speed, but that is a bad place to be. Oh my goodness. Trying to give me a heart attack, Father?
Somehow they all missed him. That's great to see, but that almost looks like, I know this game is 20 years old, almost looks like the toe link is broken on that car or something. And it looks like a typical Gen 7 wreck, damaged race car. Well, this is a perfect time for the caution to come out. This is right when we expected that cycle to begin. And Jordan Edwards will lead us down the pit lane. Somebody's blowing up there.
That was Crampton, who I believe was involved in the wreck. There's a lot of cars involved in that one. 7 points. And now the strategy game. What will these guys do? Probably be 4 tires with it being basically at the cycle before we have that caution. And see if who has the best pit crew early on in the season. If Monaco with damage, and looks like it was a massive crash, and the 14 is still having a struggle getting back to pit road. That 14 team has had a struggle this season. And it looks like it's going to be the number 9 winning the race off pit road. And a slow pit stop for Stuart Brown. He's going to lose 3 or 4, maybe 5 spots on pit road. And look at the JBL pit crew. 2nd and 3rd on pit road.
Really good job out of the Joe Gibbs Racing team right there. Good job out of my team at Front Row Motorsports as well. And that's good for Logan Williams, John Andrews. I think they're going to be strong as this race goes along. But Jordan Edwards, I think his biggest threat there was Stuart Gratton. And now that he's a little ways back, we'll have to see if that ends up affecting him. Good run there for Aaron Abel. Watch out for Abel. We've got so many guys who have a good shot at winning this race here today. I'm fascinated to see who it ends up being. Hey, I'm tongue-tied too, man, you know.
As of this recording is cloudy in Indiana, so that could be affecting me.
I don't have that excuse. It is actually a sunny day today, so.
Well, there's a lot to skim us off turn 4 and entering the trial, so we will see what happened. We have the first caution of the day, and the Bet MGM 400. Hopefully it's the only one. We will wave around the 4 to get out of the way, and we will get back to the restart here about halfway in race number 5 of the season. Here we go, this will happen to bring up the first caution of the day here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and unfortunately, Kenneth Miller, running 11th at the time, had an oil leak issue, and he tried getting down to the apron and getting out of anyone's way, but Juan Garcia was there, pushed him up the racetrack, and then Nick Lopez had nowhere to go, and the 4 was still trying to get down to pit road, and unfortunately turned them off a turn. Number 4, look at Alexander Roll sneak by on the outside. And unfortunately, the track is blocked here, and the 15, 14, 16, 77 slides in, and all these guys are sliding on the oil from the number 4. And unfortunately, we're not done yet. A huge hit for the 14, Watkowski. Oh my goodness, Watkowski, Sam Vitale, Wilkinson, and others all slammed into the number 14 machine, and that was a bigger hit than I thought that was, and that would explain why the 14 was just limping it down the front stretch. And unfortunately, some guys up front in the point standings, like Crampton and Sam Dio, are involved in this one, and unfortunately, same with Watkowski as well. A bigger wreck than I thought, but that's what happens at Las Vegas. A lot of narrow quarters, and unfortunately, the first caution of the day, right before pit stops.
And Kenneth Miller, everything was going just fine until it wasn't. And that's not the best place to have an issue, trying to come down the pit lane, and there's just no room for him to do it. And he just lost it there. And then all these guys trying to race back to the line, you know. People want to make this big thing about them throwing the caution out too early. This is why. Not that they would necessarily do it like this in real life, but racing back to the line in real life got taken away for a very good reason, and examples such as that are why. So tough break for all those guys involved, and yeah, that's a tough one there for Brandon Varga, who's going to take a while to get back around as well, as we saw he almost got hit there, but thankfully he didn't. It's still a bit of a nervous moment there for a lot of these drivers here. We got our first caution here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
About gave me a heart attack, and it's unfortunately been a tough year for the rookie of Brian Varga. Has speed most weeks, but has a lot of bad luck as well. Luckily, that happened right before we had our first cycle of pit stops, and we will get back going green here for the first restart of the day, and hopefully the only one in the Bet MGM 400. Welcome back to Las Vegas Motor Speedway after the first caution of the day, and hopefully the only one here in the Bet MGM 400. We will go back green with exactly 37 laps to go next time by, and that means it is still a one-stop race from here. So that worked out perfectly, and it's basically going to be the same strategy what it already was if it stayed green. Unfortunately, we do have a couple cars that are out. The 77, the 45, the 51, and the 14 are all out. And a tough season for Brian Varga here. And it will be the point leader and dominant driver of the day so far. Jordan Andrews leans back to the green. Alan Abel in second. Burnett, Andrews, Williams from 17th to 5th. Gladden, Ward, Burnett, not Burnett, Hubert. And then the race sponsor of local Dawn, and then Juan Garcia round out the top 10. We'll see how everything works out the first restart of the day, and this could get wild. But it is the point leader still lean, and then fourth in points right behind him. Back green on lap 31 of 67. Decent start from the front, but Man Abel got better restart, and here he goes to the inside of Edwards. Here comes Sean Andrews with maybe even a better restart, and it could get wild. 2 and 3 while racing all over again. Sean Andrews from third to first maybe, but it's gonna slide up the racetrack, and he's gonna force Abel to go wide, and he's not gonna hit the wall. That was really close. Here comes Logan Williams trying to do the Las Vegas sweep. And the way that this racing is right now, we might not be done with cautions. Here comes the RCR duo of Wood and Dawn on the inside, but Jordan Edwards might want that second place spot back.
There goes Duncan Ward on Logan Williams right there. Probably might have a shot at a 1-2 finish right there, but hey, great move out of John Andrews to take the race lead away. I've been in the booth when he's won before. I think he won
the 100th race,
the 100th
yeah.
JBL Cup Series race last year at Atlanta, and he's a very strong driver. Love having him on my team, and he's doing a great job. Archo making some moves back in here. Logan getting shuffled out of line right there in the 38 machine. Comes Juan Garcia, winningest driver on the channel right there in the top 10. Bratton kind of fell back a little bit right there. I really like what we're seeing here. We're seeing a lot of strong drivers up front in this race, and they're kind of staying up front as well. We're not really seeing much of the cycle race, which makes it very interesting. And, odds are one of the top 10 runners right now is going to get the win. But keep in mind, if still have another cycle of pit stops left to go, who knows? That'll end up being a green flag cycle or not. But that last pit stop is going to be right near the end of the race as well. About 10 laps to go. That could get very, very interesting once we get to that point.
Oh yeah, if this stays green, that would be very interesting on what these guys would do, because it's not like Atlanta where, oh, you have to take 4 tires. It's not even a second to fall off. Maybe at most a second if you burn out other stuff. So in theory, if we get to that point where we stay green to the final round of pit stops, maybe someone could take white sides only. Maybe. We just have to wait and see. But Abel, I'm liking a race has right now. Looks like they've done the right adjustments on that number 11 machine. Was in 4th before pit stops, and now he might be challenging for the race win. Abel had a very strong season last year, especially his second half of the year for RCR and Reggie Folkman at the time. Now back at Joe Gibbs, where he was in, I believe, season 4 before we did Reigns. And Joe Gibbs Racing, they've been strong. They won at the Clash, and if they win here today, that will end the streak of 5 different owners winning the first 5 races, technically, if we count the Clash. But John Andrews, not a god to be reckoned with. And with 31 laps to go, he is in the lead with Abel in second And how about this mess behind him? Down from 4th, that is Local Dawn, Troy Barlow, Ward, Glenn, and Williams. And just inside the top 10 is Juan Garcia and Matthew Burnett. Went from 3rd to, unfortunately, barely hanging on to the top 10. Look at Bradley Weem just outside the top 10. Dylan Matthews, Eli Bright, Alexander Lowe, and then another group of cars with basically everyone else of Stout, Fitzwater, and unfortunately, Matthew Hubert has dropped back significantly.
Yeah, he was up front there, and then he ended up falling back, unfortunately. I was going to say Jordan Edwards is falling back a little bit, but he's still up there in 3rd, so he's still got a good run going. And here we go, the 4 machine, who I believe may have been the issue for the caution there. Oh, boy, John coming close to him there. Trying to keep it, though, so that he might try to get that 11, catch that 11 off guard, but it's only going to catch Jordan Edwards and Rogel Dorn off guard right here. Trey Barja back in there as well. It's going to jam these guys up. That 4 machine is clearly off the pace, and won't be the last time we run into Kenneth Miller the way this one's going, so that's interesting there. But that's good for the top 2 there. John Andrews and Aaron Abel, they're going to pull away about a second and a half from the rest of the field with that one.
Yeah, from what we assumed, the 4 had an oil leak, and he definitely is slow in that number 4 machine. And we might not be done with cautions here because of this 4 machine. And now, unfortunately, Burnett is going to get held up, and that's the thing. Las Vegas is a narrow mile and a half, and there's not a lot of room. Look at Bradley Weem now inside the top 10. Great one for Team Penske. Has not made a lot of noise yet this season, but a great one up here, and Troy Barlow making some moves back up to the front. This is what I mean, the parity is crazy, and especially here today, seeing so many drivers go from the back to the front to the front to the back, and Troy Barlow dropped back early, and now midway through this race, he's back up to 3rd, but because of that 4 machine, these top 2 have a almost 2-second advantage. Brown is back up to the 4th position, and I think that 9 machine might be a little bit tight. One's wide. That's going to allow Weem to get there, but fantastic stuff here. We still got 25 laps to go. In theory, if these guys can pit now and be good on fuel, but it's getting good here in the Bet MGM 400.
And this is definitely going to be a very unique race if we stay green to that cycle of pit stops, because now you got these guys 2.5 seconds behind. Do any of them try to maybe play strategy and try to jump the top 2 right now? Will these guys catch back up to the top 2 before we get to that cycle? That's also very possible. Trey Barton now in that position. Stuart Gratton, they're definitely fast enough drivers to be able to do so. Of course, you got Rogel Dorn there running in the 5th position. Great run for him there. There's so many guys who can win this race. Haven't talked about the 22 yet. Good run there for Bradley Ream inside the top 10 now. You also got the 7 machine also moving his way through the field there. Anthony, or should I say Dylan Matthews, her way through the field there in that 7 machine. 42 is also up there. Eli Bright, seeing some new players up front. Jordan Edwards slipping back in the 9 machine. Got stuck in that outside lane, did not get a good exchange going around the 4, and he has fallen off quite a bit there from dominating this race earlier on.
Oh yeah, a fairly unfortunate scenario for that number 9 machine. I think it's a combination of that lap color of the number 4 and his color speaking a little bit tight. But you mentioned it, Bright in the top 10 early on here on the second stint. He's struggled this season like Small Club has as a whole. But they're starting to get some better ones going. Wachowski had a good one last week. It's Eli's turn. Great one from Dylan Matthews, and a slow start, but a quiet start from Bradley Ream. He's sitting from the point stands, and with a good one inside the top 10 that could help him to move up. Oh, what? Was I seeing things? I don't know if I was. I was not.
You were not. That's a yellow.
No. Net Lopez is done. Engine. Well, we're not going to have any green flag pit stops here today, Alex. Second caution of the day. And we are good to go from here. I thought I was seeing something. I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me, but tough boy for the other Joe Gibbs car of Nick Lopez. But now, this is where the pit crew gets their money's worth, Alex, because this is the money stop.
This is, and this is going to make it nice because we're not going to have a green flag cycle, have to worry about anyone getting caught a lap down, which I always like. If you watch my races lately, you kind of get get my beef with that. But here we go. John Ander's going to lead us down the pit lane here, and this is the money stop. Just like you said, going to be 21 laps to go across the line here for the 34 John Anders. And I imagine it's going to be a 4-tire stop for all these guys who want to be as fast as possible for these last 20 laps, going to the checkered flag.
Looks like it will be 2 tires right there on the right side. And then it's going to be a left side. So yeah, I believe it will be 4 tires for basically everybody here. And now this is going to be interesting. Last time, Joe Gibbs Racing did a fantastic job on pit road. Andrews is all the way off as the leader. Graham with a much better stop. Abel with a good stop. Burnett is still on pit road. And how about Abel with a good stop again? And this is going to be interesting. Matthews with a solid start on pit road. And once again, the parity. And this is going to be interesting. We will have a late race restart. And the bad thing is, with how quickly we caught up with Kenneth Miller, we might catch up again in the final 20 laps. Let's quickly see what happened to the 54, and let's get back to the restart here in the Bet MGM 400. Less than 20 laps to go in this one. Here we are, this happened to bring up the second caution of the day, and unfortunately we've seen this before, and it's happened again.
That's a 1.0.
Yeah, that was a 0.928 or something. That was a massive engine failure for the 54. And unfortunately, I was not seeing things, and he couldn't make it back to pit road, and stopped in the middle of the racetrack, and teleported right at the last possible second. And you see Watkowski right there, that is what's going to bring out the caution. Stopped in the middle of the field, and right where the 34 and 11 was, and about gave me another heart attack. That's twice in one race. Hopefully that's the last one, but that was it for that one. That was a very simple caution, and it will set us up for a less than 20 lap to go shootout here at Las Vegas, and we are in store for a fun one late in the going in the Bet MGM 400. Welcome back to Las Vegas Motor Speedway and the Bet MGM 400 second caution of the day for the 54 of Nick Lopez blowing a motor. It ended up being a piston for that machine, and he's the only caught out from that wreck, or that caution I should say. And it's gonna get good. These guys are good on fuel, good on tires, and it's gonna be less than 20 laps to go in the 5th race of the season. John Anders is out front trying to go and make it 6 different teams to win early in the season, and unable, trying to stop that from happening in 2nd. And then we got Local Dawn, the Bet MGM car, in 3rd to Stuart Brown, and back up to 4th, Logan Williams in 5th. Duncan Ward in 6th, Dylan Matthews in 7th, Eli Bright in 8th, Trey Bell in 9th, and back into the top 10 is Jordan Edwards. Got some new players outside the top 10 of Ween, Stout, Lowe, Hooper, and Giacomo. It's going to be interesting. Realistically, I think the top 10 have the best shot, but we saw last time, Anders went from 3rd to 1st. Let's see if the 3 can do that here. Will this be a final restart? Let's find out back only with, I believe, 18 laps to go in the Bet MGM 400.
Seems to be, and it's going to come through right here to be an advantage, be in that 2nd position on the restart. And Aaron Abel's going to go to the race lead here. Help there from Rogel Dorn, Stuart Graham there, and that outside lane's going to hurt John Anders. That's what happened to Jordan Edwards. The last restart, that's what's going to happen here, and there goes Rogel. And these restarts are crazy here. You get the 4th or 5th guy in line, end up getting the race lead once it's all said and done. That's what happened to John the last time around. He's going to fall back to 5th, as Rogel Dorn's going to lead that lap.
Just like the last restart from 3rd to 1st, and here comes Stuart Graham. He's not led all day long, but he is still in the midst. And he fell back early, but he's trying to get his 2nd win in 5 races in that number 47 team. And I think he could be a strong contender, not only for Rookie of the Year, but for his championship. But look at that 3 machine whipping the outside lane, and I don't know who this guy is, just someone that's trying to go and do the weekend sweep as Logan Williams running in the third position now after the restart.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind him doing the weekend sweep. John Andrews trying to get around Duncan Ward right here. Don't think he's going to be able to do so. Duncan Ward has that inside. Trey Barger right there as well. And you got Logan going for second on Stuart Gratton, but Roland Oren's a really good speedway racer. I know he knows what he's doing, and that number 3 machine may be hard to beat, especially, Bet MGM sponsoring the race there on the hood of that car. It seems like the Pennzoil car wins this race a lot in real life, too, as these guys continue the battle for second. That's going to allow Rogel to just pull away in that 3 machine.
So we call a battle with some fairly strong names. We got strong names across the board up front right now. But Abel wants something for that number 3 machine. Abel, a veteran of the series at this point, same for Logan Williams. Stuart Gratton and Local Dawn are 2 rookies. So we got 2 rookies and 2 veterans up front. Oh my goodness, Stuart Gratton's gonna move and Abel out of the way. A bumping one at 185 miles an hour into turn number 1. And these 3 keep on swapping for second, and that's just allowing Local Dawn to pull away. Local Dawn has had a very strong season. As I mentioned, he is the highest rookie in points right now, 3rd in the point standings, and he could leave here 2nd in the point standings because we're not seeing Ronald Kennington all day long. And it's going to be Williams back up to the 2nd place spot. Someone needs to figure out who wants to be in 2nd and close in on Local Dawn, because if they keep on battling for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, it could be Local's race to lose here, coming to 12 laps to go in this one.
And Rogel's got a good shot here now. If one of these 3 guys can pull away from the rest, they might have an opportunity, but laps are ticking down. We're 12 laps to go here in Las Vegas, and Rogel's in a very good position. That's how he won that Coke 600 over in the Wall Cup Series last year, which is very dominant and just did not have any competition as that race went along. It's definitely the case that can happen here today. But Logan Williams trying to pull away from Stuart Gratton, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do so. Stuart's going to move back to the inside, and once again, they're battling for 2nd place.
Great battles all day long. Stuart got better 1 and 3 and 4, and looks like he's going to get to the inside. 1 and 2 is more on the inside lane, and looks like 3 and 4 is about anywhere. But Logan Williams is going to try and hang on to the top spot. Right now, if they stand with 10 laps to go at the line, it will be our 2nd rookie to win, and our 6th different team to win already this season. And it's looking pretty good. Logan Williams about got into the outside wall. Stuart Gratton and Logan Williams battling for 2nd. Abel in the 4th position. Andrews in 5th. Trey Barlow in 6th. And how about this? Our point leader is back up to 7th. Juan Garcia is quietly in 8th. Eli Bright in 9th. And how about this? Allison and Rowe inside the top 10. And then Jordan Stout just outside the top 10. And this very competitive throughout the field. And oh my goodness, I forgot about the 4 car.
Again. I don't know how well Rogal Dorn got around him.
And once again, the 9's going to get the short end of the stick.
You got to be careful here. This is shaping up to be a bit of a scuffle right here. That 4 machine not getting out of the way, and Stewart just took the lead. Rogal Dorn got held up there, and Stewart just went right by him.
Oh boy.
And we completely missed it. So now you got Stuart Gratton and Logan Williams going for the win, and Rogal Dorn is not going to be happy with Kenneth Miller after this one, after that exchange. And here comes Logan for the race lead.
Well, that will be in the corner of the screen. I did not realize any of that was happening. 8 laps to go. That probably could have been Local's race to lose. But if these 2 go side by side, that will allow these 3 to close in of Abel, Dorn, and Williams. Of John and Logan Williams. Trying to do the weekend sweep and get his 11th win on the channel. But Stuart Gratton is trying to get his 3rd here today. Or 2nd, I should say. And he's going to do a crossover. 7 laps to go. This is all but over. And it's going to be a duel in Las Vegas with Logan Williams, Stuart Gratton, and Abel, Local One, and John Andrews.
Now you got Aaron Abel in the mix, and all these guys are right on each other here. Even Trey Barger might have a shot at this race win. You see him back there at a 2.5 off. And here comes Aaron Abel looking to the inside. Rogal Dorn's got a chip on his shoulders now, trying to get this lead back. Anybody's race at this point. We could have ourselves a very good finish in this Bet MGM 400 here in just a few laps.
This has been a very fun race here at Las Vegas, and it is far but over. 6 laps to go, but once again, You don't want to go side by side when the leader is pulling away. Local Williams is going to push Abel past Local to 1. I think Abel has a strong enough car to catch up to Stuart Glenn. Only going to be 5 laps to go. I'm going to quickly see if we have any lap colors. We might have a lap color with Eric Monaco. And unfortunately, Joe Witkowski's fallen off the pace in the number 43 as well. We might not be done with lap colors, but we only have 5 laps left. Local Williams has brought back to 6th place. Make that 5th as he's going to get a 1 on the outside. With these guys single file, I don't know if Stewart is in a comfortable position because now he could be in trouble.
Aaron Abel's the guy I've been watching this whole race, and I don't know if he's actually led a lap yet, but he is in a very good position to steal this win here with 4 laps to go. Rogel's still there as well in the 3 machine. Logan's fallen off just a little bit right there in the 38. John Eater still has an opportunity. Grattan a little wide right there. Rogel's trying to take second away from Aaron Abel right here. He's got a nose to the inside. That's good news for Stewart if he can hold the inside there. Couldn't quite get it yet. It's going to be a very interesting race, but it looks like Stewart may be pulling away here, looking to get this race victory.
If these two continue going side by side, that will help Stewart. These guys need to say, hey, we need to catch up to that 47. And Aaron Abel's going to do the smart strategy of running a lane higher. And look at the momentum that he just got off of turn number 2. This is not over, folks. If Abel keeps on doing that, we could have a battle between Abel and Stuart Grannon. 2 laps to go. Let's time by. And we got some of the best in the business. Some of the best rookies and some of the best veterans battling out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Abel needs to do what he did last time, but that worked out for him perfectly. He's going to want a lane lower. He's going to get a little bit loose, a little bit tight amidst to both, but he's still there. He still has a shot.
The tires are just wearing out to a point now where these guys are pretty much going to stay where they are, and Aaron Abel just doesn't quite have the speed. Rogel's going to try to get back to the inside for second. It's the white flag for Stuart Grattan here in Las Vegas.
The white flag presented by Powley. Powley wanted to go, what a race this has been. And I mentioned the penalty. I mentioned how 5 different teams have won already this season. But we are finally going to get a first repeat team, and it's going to be a first repeat winner. How about this for the rookie of Stuart Grattan? Off of turn number 4, what a race and what a victory. Stuart Grattan will win the Bet MGM 400 at Viva Las Vegas.
Not surprised in the slightest. That is a good driver, that is a good team, and that will not be their last win this season.
Whew.
But you had a feel for Rogel. You got held up there by the 4 of Kenneth Miller, and he still got a good finish out of it, but he's going to feel like he should have won that race. But it's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, and wasn't meant to be. And how about this for Stuart Grattan, their second win of the season there at Chase Harris's team. These are definitely guys to watch out for in this championship as we roll through the rest of the season.
Without a shadow of a doubt, this team won the championship with Derek Campbell 2 years ago when it was the Equal Lane Series, and already 2 wins in the first 5 races. And how about that? Rookies go 1-2 here today. Local members did not quite do the weekend sweep, but gets a first and a third here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Johnny Andrews gets 4th, and Abel in 5th. Dropped back from 2nd to 5th late. Tripo in 6th. And how about Allison in the row? I don't know, we're getting a 7th place one. Jordan Andrews in 8th. Believe he will still be the point leader. Matthew Burnett and Oman was out of nowhere inside the top 10. Really, from 8th to 20th was very competitive throughout this field here today. Zidell, Andy Miller, Eli Bright, Juan Garcia, who was in the top 10 at one point, finishes in 14th. Vladimir, Dylan Matthews, Noah Clifton, Jordan Stout, Zachary Fitzgerald, and DB Ruiz. Basically, the top 15 we all mentioned the majority of the day. Tough way for Matthew Hubert. It's been one of those seasons where we mentioned him up one early, but drops back late. He finishes in 21st. That explains why we didn't see Kennington all day. He finishes in 22nd. So that's why 23rd. Duncan Ward, he fell back late in 24th. Sam Vitale, Halverson, Hernandez, Rukowski 28th. And then Giacomo 1 lap down, something happened to Henley. He was up front inside the top 15. Monaco 1 lap down, Kenneth Miller 2 laps down. Nick Lopez with a piston. And then Sam Dio, Hampton, Wilkerson, and Fargo all out from the first clash of the day. But what a race here at Las Vegas. We saw a little bit of everything. And Stuart Glenn gets his second win on the season, but he had to earn it. And the parity is real, and that was a fantastic one here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
That was a lot of fun. That was definitely a lot of fun. And Stewart absolutely earned that one, too. He was one of the fastest guys. He probably was running top 5 pretty much this whole race in that 47 machine. But definitely a fun race, and we saw a lot of the guys, so I think we'll be strong throughout the rest of the season up front in this race as well. I'm proud of my guys getting the double top 5 for Front Row Motorsports. You know, I can't complain about that. Yeah, Roll with Oran's got a lot to complain about, but, you know, there is a chance, too. He may not have even held on to the race lead if that didn't end up happening. You just never know, but fun race here at Las Vegas. Definitely a great racetrack. I'm excited to see how the rest of the season ends up shaking out for the rest of these guys. It's definitely going to get interesting once we get deeper in the season and these guys start spreading out from each other a bit more.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun, and let's see how the rest of the season goes. We have one more race to go in the West Coast Swing, for the Cup Series at least, and it will be at Auto Club Speedway. Got a little bit of a different I&I, and that one's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun week next week for the Auto Club 400, I believe, and then after that we are back to Florida at Homestead, Miami. So one more week on the West Coast. What a 3-week stretch it has been, and we still got one more. The points will be at the end of the video as always. Congratulations to Stuart Glenn for getting a second win on the season and the first multi-time winner of season number 6. For Alex, I'm Nathan Stapleton. We will see you guys next week at All Club Speedway for the JBL Cup Series.